But silk yoga is also very common. It's the concept of having like basically like silk is the material with which you create like a hammock like a thing. It's also called aerial yoga. You basically are suspended from the ceiling.
that I've heard of.
And it's some people also like to call it anti-gravity yoga.
Nutrition के बारे में इतना सारा है. You go on Instagram,
Right.
you will see in one feed you will see 10 people talking about 10 different things.
True.
And I feel that a lot of it is bullshit.
I'm not against a lot of coffee, but I only go by what I've experienced. There were times I've had tremors because of coffee.
Oh.
Because people don't realize you are not supposed to have coffee empty stomach. I look fit because I feel fit.
That's why. That's what the question was.
It's not the other way around. You glow a certain way, you have a persona, the way you walk into a room, your aura is only because your core, your Kundalini, as we say, is active.
Everybody doesn't work at the same pace. Everybody's body, mind, they all work at different paces. Right. So you have to know what is her mind space, how much time is she going to take doing her job.
It feels like something is just taking me in, and against the gravity, I'm just feeling like I'm in a different space altogether.
And it is a form of yoga.
It is very much a form of yoga where you are not using any other prop but just like a silk. It could be like a rope or something suspended in air, and it's just you and the way you're turning. People don't know that cervical cancer can be prevented, but in India it's not very spoken about. So in US and other places, parts of Europe, people basically are given booster shots, the girls, before they become sexually active. So let's say before you turn 15 or 16 and right after the onset of your puberty, you're given 3 booster shots of HPV vaccination, which is human papilloma virus. I've been traumatized, I've been hospitalized. I have almost wanted to not see another day in my life.
Oh, wow.
It's gone that extreme, and I can talk about it so openly right now because I've gone through it, it's done.
Welcome to yet another fun episode of Unstoppable, powered by RiteBite Max Protein. Today we have a wildly talented guest with us. She's not only a fabulous actress, but she's a microbiologist who made the daring leap from lab coats to limelight. She made her debut with the hit Bengali film Mishawr Rawhoshyo. She's going to tell us what that means, and went on to star in hit shows like Bandish Bandits and Aashram. She's proven that if you really stay true to yourself, no dream is too big. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Tridha Choudhury. Welcome to Unstoppable.
Namaskar.
Namaskar. আমি আপনাকে আজকে বাংলায় কথা বলবো না ইংরেজিতে?
I think audience के लिए हिंदी में भी बात कर सकते हैं, but I think let's keep it to English for now.
बंगाली में टू करते हैं. सबसे पहले तो ये बताओ, मैं आपको एक अरसे से जानता हूँ, लेकिन मुझे ये पता नहीं था कि आप माइक्रोबायोलॉजिस्ट हैं या आपने पढ़ाई की है. I want to know how, why microbiology, because it's so far removed from acting, and then how did you veer into the world of entertainment?
I think something about studies was always fascinating. I always enjoyed studying. I'm from Kolkata. I graduated from there, Calcutta University. Food technology, genetics, skin, hair, they always intrigued me, you know.
Okay.
I mean, I know we're sitting here and we will try to get into each other's closet of wellness.
yours.
Closet of wellness,
Yes.
which I love. But microbiology has been very fascinating for me because let's talk about, let's say, food, right? We all follow certain diet.
Right.
I've studied about it. There's a proper subject called food technology, and I've always loved it. In fact, the truth be told, I don't even have a doormat. I do my own skin and hair care.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that because of your education or you've researched?
A little. I do take pride in the part that because of my studies, I kind of curate my own diet and my skincare and hair care.
Wow. Can you help me also on that?
Do we need that?
So that is how you became a microbiologist.
True.
How did you shift from that to acting? मतलब क्योंकि इतना अलग है दोनों जोन
है ना?
हाँ.
But I think वही तो है लाइफ में. It's not fun if you're just doing one thing. We're multifaceted, all of us. हमें बस पता नहीं होता. Like today, you are playing one character, but do you know how many characters you truly are in life? Not just what it's scripted.
क्वांटम फिजिक्स के बारे में बात कर रहे हो. अरे बाप रे.
नहीं बिल्कुल नहीं. हाँ. मुझे and of course classical dance भी उसने मुझे बहुत ही help किया because being a classical stage performer, I've always enjoyed putting up an act, a show.
Right.
So doing it for camera just felt something I really enjoyed.
So let me ask you a simpler question. What was that moment when somebody came and spotted you or asked you, or did you go to somebody and say, I want to be an actor?
What do you think the answer would be?
Answer would be that somebody like a Srijit would have spotted you somewhere.
So yes.
But audience को बताना पड़ेगा ना.
बिल्कुल. You mentioned Mishawr Rawhoshyo, जिसका मतलब है हिंदी में मिश्र रहस्य. It's a very famous Bangla novel.
Okay.
Kaka Babu Shontu series. Every Bangali knows it. And जिनको नहीं मालूम है, it's a very very famous kids novel. जिसके ऊपर उसके आधार पे एक movie बनी थी. Srijit Mukherjee directed it. And he was looking for the girl, the character. Rini was the name. And I will never forget that day. मुझे ऐसे कॉल आता है, मुझे लगा प्रैंक कॉल है कि we want to cast you for a film. दूर तक कोई नाता नहीं फिल्म्स के साथ. I absolutely rejected it. मुझे नहीं मालूम कौन श्रीजीत मुखर्जी है, कौन क्या है, but I was like नहीं, ये एक्टिंग के भूत से मुझे दूर रहना है.
So how did they get in touch with you if you're not in the public view?
Because nowadays it's kind of accessible. एक competition हुआ था, you know.
अच्छा.
हाँ. So वहीं से I got spotted. I was basically told to introduce myself. अगर कोई talent है, थोड़ा hello hi बोल दो सबको. And the judges liked me. So वहीं से हुई journey.
तो वैसे शुरू हुआ. तो would I call you an accidental actor?
Not an accidental, definitely.
तो कहीं ना कहीं वो था कीड़ा के एक्टिंग करनी है, पर तुमने फिर मना क्यों कर दिया?
क्योंकि मुझे पता नहीं था कि मैं पढ़ाई के साथ साथ कैसे करूँगी. And I don't like being average.
Right.
I don't want to be an average actor or an average microbiologist. So after completing graduation, here I am.
Then you started.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was your first debut?
Yes.
Wow.
Mishawr Rawhoshyo was my debut. I've done regional films like you talk about in Bengali, of course, in Telugu as well. I have done.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But I think कहीं ना कहीं Hindi has an impact all over the world.
Of course.
So वहीं से जो एक बार शुरू हुई,
वो एक बार कीड़ा लग गया,
एक बार चस्का लग गया.
Absolutely.
Then I'm like, there's no going.
And then you moved to Mumbai. चलो, ये तो हो गई इनकी शुरुआत की बातें. बहुत ज़रूरी है हम लोग न्यूट्रिशन और हेल्थ के बात करें, नहीं तो ये तो चलता रहेगा. So what I got from your social media is that you practice this fitness routine called silk yoga. पहले तो आप हमारे ऑडियंस को बताइए कि ये होता कैसे है. Secondly, it's not yet a very popular form of fitness in India. How did you get to it?
Actually, you'd be surprised. It's always been around. You know, like there are so many types of yoga. Today you talk about Iyengar yoga with props or some kind of like hatha yoga, and you talk about yin yoga.
Those everybody's heard of. Silk yoga क्या होता है?
But silk yoga is also very common. It's the concept of having like basically like silk is the material with which you create like a hammock like a thing. It's also called aerial yoga. You basically are suspended from the ceiling.
That I've heard of.
And it's some people also like to call it anti-gravity yoga, but then there are very different techniques for it. What I love about silk yoga or aerial yoga is I feel like I'm a baby because
you're in that
yeah, it feels like something is just taking me in, and against the gravity I'm just feeling like I'm in a different space altogether.
And it is a form of yoga.
It is very much a form of yoga where you are not using any other prop but just like a silk. It could be like a rope or something suspended in air, and it's just you and the way you're turning, you know, with which the movement and everything. It's very graceful as well. And also, it has a lot of anti-aging benefits as well.
Really?
Yes.
Elaborate on that.
I mean, I won't be able to elaborate too much because I'm not an instructor, but what I've experienced.
So now you practice it on your own, or you have to go to classes?
No, you really need someone, because something like this is, until you are a facilitator, I wouldn't recommend, you shouldn't just start on your own.
Right.
Because something about yoga and all these wellness practices, you need someone to initiate you. I always tell people, हम सबको सब कुछ नहीं पता होता, मुझे भी नहीं पता सब कुछ. I'm learning, constantly learning. But what I love about it, it feels almost like a dance form and feels like so peaceful, and I'm just suspended mid-air and there's nothing holding me back. It just feels very freeing.
It feels very freeing, yeah. I mean, just by your describing it, मेरे को लग रहा है कि यार मेरे को कोशिश करनी चाहिए, because I've just gotten into yoga. But of course, that's Iyengar yoga, but I will try this.
Iyengar is the best way to actually correct your posture.
My whole body has opened up. I kind of went through a little small accident on the sets of Khatron Ke Khiladi last year, and I tore my hamstring. I could hardly walk for 3 months, and I started doing yoga, and I realized that it's so simple and so nice. और usually बोलते हैं ना यार जिम जा रहा हूँ ना, उल्टा है. वो बहुत ज़रूरी था मेरे लिए. So I feel actually very very active now. Talking about active, we have also very active professions and social lives.
Right.
How do you regenerate, or how do you recharge your batteries? Because I've always seen you extremely charged. Right now, she's taken a flight coming back from Goa, and she's still got so much energy.
This is my airport look.
Boss, if this is your airport look, then what else do you need?
Yes, so coming back to the active life and how I restore, renew, refresh myself. I like these 3 R's in my life. I restore by probably just taking a break. When I say break, it starts with I will just go missing.
Oh really? Yeah, that's fantastic.
I will go missing from social media, from anyone having access to me through calls or messages, and most importantly, I will just shut myself down. Like, I just want to be somewhere where I'm not having even a human interaction. It's the best way to restore yourself, where you have limited interaction with someone. If I want to renew myself, I like to get a lot of therapeutic massages and everything. Reflexology is a very good way, because people don't know that all the nerve endings in your body are, located under your feet. I mean, they all end there. So with the correct reflexology techniques, if a good person does
Where would you suggest? Like somebody like me who lives in Mumbai and Juhu.
I do have a healer I know. She does a little bit of Reiki and reflexology.
At home?
Yes, but you can also go to a studio. So there's a very important way of just... Have you heard of something called samskara?
No, I can't say I have, no.
So samskara is a Sanskrit word.
Oh, I have heard of the word,
exactly,
of course.
Blocks you from experiencing newer things, because there's one part of your body where some kind of negative emotion is always stored.
Correct.
So till you release it through
that we use in
like,
Vipassana also.
Exactly.
एक बार वो संस्कार बैठ गए.
So that samskar release happens for me through breath work, through Reiki, a little bit of reflexology. And if I talk about refreshing myself, it's also a very vivid set of individuals which make me feel renewed. Like, as I'm sitting here having this conversation, there's a lot I'm taking back home.
Right.
So
yeah, you mentioned that. The energy.
Yes,
superb. You're like an encyclopedia on this, yaar. I should have called you much earlier. हाँ? चलो इस इतने बारे ये जो न्यूट्रिशन की जो बात हम लोग आजकल कम करने लगे, क्योंकि न्यूट्रिशन के बारे में इतना सारा है. You go on Instagram, you will see in one feed you will see 10 people talking about 10 different things.
True.
And I feel that a lot of it is bullshit, and a lot of people follow it blindly, and I always say कि please don't follow anything blindly. See what works for you.
Very true.
We were talking about coffee, so I'm going to come to 2 things. And let me tell you, I stay away from sugar as much as possible. When I have my black coffee once in a while, she asked for sugar in it. And my first nutrition question to you was, how do you do glucose management? Because it leads to so many other things like type 2 diabetes, etc.
Of course. I mean, that's a very wide topic. Sugar. Sugar is everything. Everything ends up being sugar. You talk about, you eat carbohydrates, anything that you consume.
It gets stored in your body as sugar.
100%. So yes, you can always avoid excess, but sometimes for that correct amount of mithas, you shouldn't also deplete yourself. Like you said, people are going wrong with doing too much.
True.
So suddenly you can also have a like low blood sugar level. It's happened to me.
Oh,
like
really?
I was trekking and I didn't realize I was kind of going on a low sugar diet, and my head starts spinning and I faint, and I was almost...
While trekking?
Yes.
Oh wow.
So it was not the lack of oxygen or something, but it was low blood sugar levels. So you shouldn't really always do that. I mean, kabhi kabhar man karta hai, you must include a little bit of sugar in your diet. So I'm not against sugar.
But हमारे diet जो है Indian diet है, दाल में भी कभी-कभी शक्कर पड़ जाता है, हर खाने में, बंगाली खाने में भी बहुत सारा शक्कर पड़ ही जाता है. तो isn't that enough for your body to maintain your sugar levels?
It is. Like for instance, we mentioned about diabetes mellitus. There are 2 types, insipidus and mellitus. So mellitus is more common, the type 2, because you just don't know when it will hit you. Sometimes people show signs, sometimes they don't. I wouldn't know either. It's good to always curtail. Like my father is an inspiration for that.
Oh.
He doesn't have diabetes yet, but somehow, he's always maintained his like he's kept his insulin in check. For some reason, like he would introduce spirulina in his diet at a I'm talking about when I was in the 4th grade. I see bags and bags of spirulina.
And we just hear about it now.
But it always exists.
Wow.
I mean, the point is, like you said, it's unique. आपको कुछ सूट होगा, वो मुझे नहीं होगा, जो मुझे होगा, वो आपको नहीं होगा. It's
correct. एक जो चीज़ मुझे बहुत सूट होती है, जिसके बारे में आपने बोला कि बहुत नहीं पीना चाहिए, वो है ब्लैक कॉफ़ी. आपने ऐसा क्यों बोला? क्योंकि मैंने भी एक yesterday I was reading an article about coffee, and it said that after 45 If you have too much of black coffee, it affects your bone health. Now, I don't know how far this is true. I haven't researched it completely.
Right.
But why are you against a lot of coffee?
I'm not against a lot of coffee, but I only go by what I've experienced. There were times I've had tremors because of coffee. Because people don't realize you are not supposed to have coffee empty stomach. Do not do that, because there's a certain pH your tummy needs.
Okay, I have to pause you there.
Okay.
For the last 15 years of my life,
You've done this?
I am on intermittent, right? So I only eat lunch. I go to the gym and I have lunch straight after. I never eat anything before. And I wake up and after my glutathione water, I have black coffee.
I'm not an expert, but this I know for sure.
I've also read
It's
it,
not
but you know, like
ideal.
I said, some
ideal.
things that work for you, some things don't.
Right.
And I gave it up for some time.
Right.
You know, I starting my day with black tea or green tea.
Right.
It really didn't make a difference to the way I am or the way I was energetic. I just feel that a couple of sips of that black coffee in the morning wakes me up, charges me.
Of course, but then you can substitute it. You can actually try adding some fat to the coffee. So then the
Ghee.
exactly,
Ghee or
or a
butter.
butter, which is called a bullet coffee.
Yeah.
And you will not actually have a sudden spike and
Or
crash
a crash.
of the
Have you
caffeine.
experienced a crash on coffee?
I have, because on set when we were shooting, that's why I said from experience. The
Right.
reason I had tremors was I used to have I
Yeah.
carry my French press. I still do. My coffee beans, I'm very particular about my coffee.
Really?
I want to have it my way. Even the biggest coffee place in a
So you could buy your beans and
I
crush
buy
your
my-
beans.
yes.
Wow,
my
that's elaborate.
my entourage always will have a coffee station, coffee kiosk. So next time if we're working together, I'll serve you coffee.
Absolutely,
Yes.
done. एक promise तो मिल गया. हाँ.
Done. So my point is, सब कुछ moderation में सही है, but this is for sure. I would like you to kind of reconsider not having coffee on empty stomach. No.
So my only worry used to be कि यार मेरा intermittent टूट जाएगा. But I'll try it out. Now since you said it, I will try it again.
It'll work better,
Yeah.
promise you.
And we were talking about how you said it's been there for a long time, but this is a newish push towards it's called the cervical cancer vaccination. I'm sure you're aware of that. What is your thought on this preventive measure? And I would like you to tell them in great detail what it means, what it helps you prevent, and why we should not be shy of talking about it.
Of course. I mean, we're humans. There's a mind, there's a body, there's a soul. But beyond everything, there needs to be awareness about it.
Right.
You know, we are here, we're having this conversation because there's so much that I would love to know from you.
Right.
Maybe something that you'd like to know from me. And then,
A lot,
you know,
yeah.
we understand. So to the audience, especially the males and females out there, people don't know that cervical cancer can be prevented, but in India it's not very spoken about. So in US and other places, parts of Europe, people basically are given booster shots, the girls, before they become sexually active. So let's say before you turn 15 or 16 and right after the onset of your puberty, you're given 3 booster shots of HPV vaccination, which is human papilloma virus. And that basically prevents cervical cancer, because let's say you become sexually active at one point in your life and you were to avoid getting any kind of STDs or any kind of problems which could lead to cancer. So it's a great preventive measure, and I think we should encourage each other to actually be aware of these things.
And have conversations around these things.
Yes, conversations
like
around
you were
these
mentioning
things.
that even your mom didn't know whether they'd given. She realized that they hadn't.
I mean, for me it was quite late. Like for instance, I think even I didn't take it too seriously, but there was a whole campaign about somebody talking about cervical cancer and
Now people are talking about it, which is great.
I don't think we need viral campaigns. We don't need to kill someone or do something insane to make cervical cancer popular, but we need to really make sure the vaccinations are in order.
And now this is the preventive measure that one must
Yes.
take. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Because even honestly, even I didn't know what it was.
Oh, that's fine.
So yeah, which I'm also learning. Like you said, we exchange information and we give it to them.
100%.
Now, yesterday I was whenever I'm about to do an episode, depending on who's on the show, I do a little bit of kind of research about fitness, nutrition, mental health, etc. I read a very good line. If a woman's body doesn't feel safe, her body doesn't drop weight. What do you make of this statement?
If a woman's body
doesn't feel safe,
she
it doesn't drop
it doesn't
weight.
drop weight. I mean, there could be
I have a take
ways.
on it, but I want to know what your take. What
What's
comes
yours?
out?
Let me hear yours.
Mine is that, like supposing my body is not the way it's supposed to be in paramount peak condition physically.
Right.
It feels unsafe to let go of anything. That was what I took out of it.
Sure.
I might be wrong. I have not read up totally on this, but this line spoke to me. What do you think would be the other take on it?
I mean, we women are a absolute we have too many hormones going on.
Too many hormones.
Too many, I would say. I mean, this is something probably I wish the male counterparts never experience. It's quite a thing. One is the onset of periods. That is, the cycle begins, and then when there is
when it stops, menopause, the perimenopause. Everybody's talking about it now on this show.
100%. So my point is, since people have shed light, I will tell you about what I have seen. For instance, my mother, she's going through menopause right now.
Wow.
And so literally our gynecologist is like a shrink for us. She tells my mother, your hormone levels are here and Tridha's hormone levels are here. So you guys have like this much of a difference. So do you really think you can meet halfway? No, you cannot. So either stay out of each other's way or just find a way to probably really understand it's bound to happen,
And it's not in their hands also, no? They can't control their spikes.
So when you talk about safe, so for me, I'm not sure if by safety you meant something else. I could speak, like let's say if my mom doesn't feel safe about me addressing her situation, she might not be able to feel 100%. That's how I could relate to the
psychological
statement you mentioned. Like she would not 100% be herself, even if she's around her daughter.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be a male causing that to a woman.
Yeah, even both of them are basically psychological reasons.
Absolutely, it is. It is. Half of the time we don't even know. We're probably hungry or something or the other, or something's going off. So don't blame it on hormones.
Correct.
But address it, accept it.
Yeah.
Accept it.
I've seen that a lot of people use that as an excuse to...
No.
Yeah, okay. But now I realize, because obviously I also read up a lot about perimenopause and menopause, and I realize your hormones are all over the place, your estrogen stops, and we'll have to do another episode about that. But
to be continued.
Yeah, we can continue on that later. We were talking about mental health. Fortunately, in the last couple of years, Indians have started talking about mental health. What do you see a correlation between physical health and mental health, physical strength and mental strength? Since you are physically extremely fit and mentally you come across as somebody who knows what she's saying and doing.
But that wasn't always the case.
Correct. I would like you to address.
It's not possible for any human to be born this way, like to be born physically or mentally fit.
Right.
Because you are a certain unique individual, you're authentic, and then societal norms, some people, they want to alter every possible beautiful version of you for you to fit into their version of them. And I've been there. I've been traumatized. I've been hospitalized. I have almost wanted to not see another day in my life.
Oh, wow.
It's gone that extreme, and I can talk about it so openly right now because I've gone through it. It's done. And I had a lot of concerns where I didn't understand what needs to be done. So basically, a lot of us don't
Was this related to your profession?
Profession? No. Personal.
Oh, wow.
I don't think my professional life ever stressed me out. It's my personal life which did. So yes, I believe I didn't have the balance to kind of, I needed to kind of draw boundaries between me and a certain someone and still be my most vivid, authentic self.
That's tough.
So today I can talk about it because I've overcome that, and I want everyone else to overcome. I look fit because I feel fit.
That's why. That's what the question was.
It's not the other way around. You glow a certain way, you have a persona, the way you walk into a room, your aura is only because your core, your Kundalini, as we say, is active. Kundalini is a space for creativity. It's through that chaos that I finally have my creativity. It's through my weakness of being traumatized, hospitalized in a terrible personal space.
All this was because of that relationship.
Yes, and I've overcome, and here I am, and I've made it my strength. I have my own wellness and travel IP right now.
I'm going to come to that.
Yes.
Because that sounds really interesting.
So my weakness has become my strength now.
Okay. How did you overcome that? Because it's very important we tell the young ones that, listen, it's possible, this is how you can do it, or this is how you can try it. Right. How did you do it personally?
cut off a lot of people from my life to begin with. Because as we are maturing, there's too many people around us, too many energies. We don't need them. We certainly don't need them. Stick to your core, stick to your family. Probably take a lot of time on your own. You mentioned Vipassana. I've never tried that, but I would love to.
You must try.
Gives you a lot of time. Solitude gives you answers.
When you were talking about solitude, I was just going to mention it, and then we kind of kept talking, but it's amazing.
So that is what I found. So a solution, as I would say, I've seen people, and another is people don't realize a lot of abuse. It could be abusing something like food, sugar, substance, alcohol. Like, it's all right if you've probably just wanted to have like a crazy night of going out, experiencing music or something. But then you need to also know that that's not real life, and you need to just find...
That's just for a dopamine hit.
Yes,
that's
momentary. That's what changed for me. When I cut down my social life, I became a much more authentic person. I didn't need any additional stimulants like people or food or just a party. I just would go out in the garden, sit in the sun, read a book. And
this change happened how many years back?
Just a couple of years
ago. Years back.
Yes. When I decided that no one will come and change my life.
Right.
I have to stop it. It's going to hurt. I will absolutely delete these people from my life. And
but that's a good thing.
Create a new life.
Like you said, there's so much negativity sometimes you get from other people who supposedly are your friends.
Yeah.
And that negativity has to be taken off.
It's not even negativity. I mean, they have their own chances of evolving, you know. You just have to let go of them.
Yeah.
They'll have their own journey.
I call it negativity because I've also, like in my life, I've seen my bestest friends.
Yeah.
You know, if you're successful and if you're healthy, I'll be happy for you.
Oh yeah.
I don't think, अरे यार ये देखो इसको इतना मिल रहा है मेरे को क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है. Never been like that. So yeah, you're right, but it's probably their energy, but I don't like to feel.
Conscious choice you're making.
Yeah.
It's a very conscious choice I made. I could have also just blamed it on a situation, and I could have just gone into that one whole dark pitfall of.
Did you ever go into a dark pitfall?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? You want to talk about it?
Sure. I mean, if I've mentioned that I almost did not want to see what tomorrow would be like, it hit terrible. It was terrible for me. I think it's just after Aashram came to release, and the whole world was praising about my acting.
That's what I was going to say. After a success like that,
the whole world was praising about my acting. A certain someone I was seeing shamed me to a point and broke me down mentally so bad that I felt like I did something wrong by playing a character like that.
Why do you think he was doing that?
Because he did not have the sense of differentiating that this is the person and this is a character. So it's very tough for individuals to do that.
He was obviously not from the industry or...
It's not about that. I don't think it's about that. It's about your own conditioning. If you've conditioned yourself to see...
No, it's easier for industry to understand कि अच्छा ये तो किरदार play कर रही है, ये किरदार निभा रही है.
On the contrary, I've had people who've been fantastically encouraging, including like my relatives and all. You would expect someone maybe like from a former generation to kind of have an opinion of you.
Correct.
But not somebody from the same generation who went to like a Ivy League college or something and is commenting and making you feel so terrible about yourself for playing a character, which is my job. So yes, I hit rock bottom in my head very hard.
Rock bottom. I can hear a rock somewhere. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's special effects.
Okay.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on, there is something that, because it relates to mental health, I have to ask you. What is Kaizen experiences? I just saw some images and videos, and how come I don't know about it?
So I always take my time in executing something. People know Tridha as a microbiologist, a dancer, an actor. But Tridha is still a lot more. And one thing I really do connect to is there's a part of me that required healing, and it's healing. And I think a lot of people do need that. And I'm not here sitting to give them healing, but I'm creating an ecosystem and community which I have been able to do with a certain someone who's my business partner because we have similar visionaries. It's a community of like-minded individuals who would like to travel and have shared experiences together. Let's say you want to experience gardening or cooking lessons in a certain part of India, and you don't know whom to do it with because maybe your family member is not inclined towards it, it's fine. That's all right. They all can sign up for something else. We will pair you with a certain someone who has shared interests like yours, and you'll be able to meet him or her or a lot of other people who just are doing nothing but shared experiences, and it just makes you feel very alive and vivacious about it.
That sounds very good.
That's what Kaizen experiences is all about. We just want people to meet. It's an offline community because we want people to disconnect from everything, and through traveling, through just conversations, experiences, a lot of mundane activities in life,
they become special.
So
like for instance, let me give you I saw your
selves.
video about the Nubra Valley.
Yes.
I love the mountains. I go there to ride. What could I experience there other than gardening and say cooking?
Good one.
For instance.
So we did something wherein we had clay pottery lessons.
Okay.
Now there was a certain individual in the group who was very shy, quiet, but he found his mojo. In that quiet time of his from that piece of clay, he was paired with somebody. So we make sure people, these are team building exercises too. So you are paired with someone you're not really comfortable talking to, so that you break the silence with a craft.
Wow.
So basically that individual ended up creating some massive pieces, and we were all in awe of, wow, see, he's not a talker, but he's found a space, and through that there was another portal that opened for all of us to connect with him.
Wow.
So it's about these very simple things.
How long have you been doing this?
I have been attending a lot of retreats and similar experiences for the last 3-4 years of my life. And now I have finally, whatever Tridha has experienced, I want through Kaizen experiences, my community,
I can give
followers,
you
everyone to
something.
experience
I am
it.
definitely going on the next whenever. So how does one find out about it?
You have to be invited.
You have to be invited for it.
Yes.
So how do you know who to invite, how to invite?
Because we'll be sending you the Google Docs form. There's a form.
Right.
So based on 20 questions, we study you, your personality.
Right.
And through that, we basically place you and invite you.
Okay.
So let's say
then you place those people in whichever thing you think is going to...
Yes, because we don't want to make anybody awkward.
Wow.
We would not want just a group of quiet individuals, because that's great, but it might not have a balance. We don't want just men there. We want a good balance of 60-40 female-male ratio.
And usually there are what, 30-40 people?
No. How can you give your attention to so many people? It's just 16 people including the hosts, which is me and my partner. Okay. So it's like 16 individuals for like a weekend, go somewhere or more, and we are just doing everything differently but together.
Lovely. Yeah, this sounds really good. Not because you're on the show and I'm interviewing you. This sounds very good, and I'd love to try it. If you can invite me.
Yes, you're invited.
You can study my doc, my Google Doc. Okay, before we go, it's been a fantastic thing. Anything you want to tell me? Anything you want to?
I do have questions. I do. I've always been a huge fan of like how poised you are, and I know it's not about just you looking good.
Right.
It's about a lot of discipline, which I think you must be having in your life. Tell me a little about some new disciplinary techniques which are keeping you, the techniques which are keeping you.
So actually, the techniques that I've used all my life, I used to be very before Vipassana. So I have two Rohits. One is before Vipassana and one is after Vipassana. Wow. Before that, I was really jumpy, impatient. I'm so good. Why is she taking so much time? Come on. So I didn't think of the other person at all. Like if I'm doing my job and somebody else isn't, I'd get irritated. Okay?
We've all been there.
We've all been there. So obviously with age and like I was talking about experience, the one thing I follow always is that, listen, everybody doesn't work at the same pace. Everybody's body, mind, they all work at different paces. Right. So you have to know what is her mind space, how much time is she going to take doing her job. That doesn't take away anything from you.
Thanks.
Poise has obviously come from experience, and even though whenever I was on television, I was to feel like a fish out of water, honestly. I'm telling you now, this is my podcast, but I'm opening my heart out to you.
100%.
So I used to feel very out of place, fish out of water, because I just didn't understand why television actors don't have the poise and the carriage. There's so much money, there's so much of fame, there's so much of glamour. Now it's become bigger than ever. And I think it comes from the fact that my mother was a teacher and she's brought us up a particular way. So if you see my brother and me, we had a certain amount of Bengali dignity. And
Bengalis know how to do it.
Bengalis know how to do this.
Yes.
So, and also I feel that the kind of upbringing I had has a lot to play with how we turned out.
True. See, conditioning.
Yeah, conditioning. Again, yeah. So that's it. That's how. What else do you want to tell us about your journey before we let you go? Something that, so it's called the RiteBite Keep Going segment.
Keep going segment.
Any mantra that you'd like to share with us which will impact the younger minds? Although you're very young, but with your experience that you've had.
Yes.
And all the dark spaces you've gone through, because I know so many youngsters who are not 22, 23 going through this.
Absolutely. I will take that cue from you. I did lose a certain someone, a very young girl who did not know how to balance her life because she had an absent father and she didn't know how to deal with a lot of things in her life. She's no more with us.
Oh.
But taking that point and trying to avoid a lot of other people from going through similar things, because they say you are a sum total of the 5 people you are around. So if I'm able to influence 3 people in my group and they further do that to somebody else, it's like a domino beautiful effect which carries on. So slowly you actually see a change eventually happening. It doesn't matter, the number doesn't have to be millions.
Right. You start
with 1. It can be
one.
thousands. Yeah, it can be just
Start with
1,
yeah.
2, 3. But that's important. The point is, you're making that effort and choice to actually stand out. You said fish out of water. Please be that fish out of water. It's not a salah. It's just an absolute thing that I go by. Find your most authentic self, because we're superbly unique, supremely. It's not possible for every doctor to be the same. Every genius is not the same. Every kind of musician or creative person is not the same. So why should you try to always fit in and do that? As life progresses, you will just laugh, play your favorite song and start your day and be like, I'm doing life my way. That's it.
Superb. On that note, thank you so much for being here. This is the conversation I wanted to have. Thank you for opening your heart out. Thank you for telling our audiences what to do and what... You haven't told them what not to do. Tell them what not to do.
Okay, if I resume how I said what not to do, please don't listen to anyone else.
Oh, wow. Then you need a lot of confidence in yourself.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Tridha. Look forward to working with you and look forward to going on Kaizen experiences, which is a Japanese word, by the way. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. You've inspired me as well. From tomorrow, I'm going to see that I don't have black coffee on an empty stomach, and I'll report back to you.
Yes.
You guys, I'll see you again next week with yet another interesting guest. Maybe not as interesting as her, but till then, stay strong, stay motivated, and see you soon. This is Rohit Roy signing off. Be unstoppable.